Hello, everybody. Welcome to Targeting Winners, episode 94. Today, we're doing our Big 12 preview, looking at some bets for the Big 12. I'm here with Pete and Darren. How you guys doing, boys?
Not too bad. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, everybody. Doing just fine. Love me some Big 12.
Some Big 12, we got some picks.
All lies.
Baboos, pick'ems. New Pope, new picks. How about that? Big 10. See? How many Popes does the SEC have, huh? Right, Pete?
That's right. That's right.
All right. Best conference in college football. They got the Pope count down. So what's new, folks? What's going on?
Nothing here, man. Excited to talk a little Big 12. Get back our ACC preview a couple weeks ago. Got that one done. Don't like my North Carolina win total bet. This chick is causing me stress. It's like 2023 Oklahoma State all over again, man. I do not deserve this. I'm usually a nice person. But
come on, this thing was always going to explode. I mean, there's no way that this thing was ever going to work. It's going to be a complete disaster at some point here.
I don't know.
I'm going to leave, you think?
I'm holding out hope that, like, once June 1st rolls around, I don't see a scenario where they're going to fire the guy. I mean,
no.
I don't see a scenario where he's going to, like, realize that, wow, my whole legacy is about to go down the toilet, over this girl, which will happen if he ends up not coaching a single game this year. So I'm still thinking he's coaching 1 year. And this is either, like Pete said, going to blow up, or he's going to go 11-1. There's going to be no middle ground, and we'll probably all know sooner rather than later which way that bet's going to go. But well,
with Gio Lopez, it's leaning towards 11-1.
I know you have them to win the ACC championship, so I mean, you're feeling my pain. It just seems like every day there's something new with this girl.
Right. Well, speaking of headaches and stress, we're talking about the Big 12 today. Well, let's go back in our inaugural year. Darren, plus 5.
Do we have to go back? I literally
just
got through all this with my therapist, and he said, "Don't worry about it." Yeah. I'm just going to say this. This conference is a nightmare to handicap. If anyone tells you they know exactly what's going to happen, they're
lying.
Full of it. They're not.
Absolutely.
The Oklahoma State was like week to 1 week they looked like they could have beaten anybody, and the following week, they're losing by 42 points to some school I've never heard of. Tim, you kind of got a little bit on board with the Big 12 chaos with the Colorado bet last year
with Colorado. I had a Heisman pick. I had the wrong Colorado Buffalo for the Heisman, but they were plus 4,000. I had them at, I waited a week too long for the old buyout, and so instead of getting something, I think they offered me like 19-1 or something. I ended up getting like 9-1.
Yeah,
still crazy like that.
Any cashing ticket is still a good
It is. I'm not going to make that mistake again. So
I'm just going to say I think part of the reason is I don't know what you guys thought of when you were looking at all these teams, but I think we mock this conference a little bit how crazy it is and unpredictable it is. I think top to bottom, this conference could have some of like the most solid quarterback play. I think of all of them. There's maybe like 3 or 4 schools that have some uncertain QB situations going in. But a lot of these schools are pretty set at the quarterback position. They got some good ones. Maybe that's what causes it. But I mean, Arizona State was picked to finish 16th. They ended up winning the whole thing last year. So, and when you look at some of these odds, they're expecting the same thing. Like, a little more than half the conference is like 13-1 or shorter to win. So, yeah, buckle up, peeps. It's going to get ugly.
Yeah. Well, I watch college football a lot lately, and the reason why is my next statement. Let's look at the 16 teams of the Big 12.
Makes perfect
sense. A little Big 12 map here.
That's beautiful.
Well, as we usually do, let's start with the bottom. Teams that we don't think have that much of a chance this year, but if you want to put out a bet on them, I mean, if you're an alma mater, if some of these guys are an alumnus of some of these schools, go ahead. But let's take a look at the Arizona Wildcats train wreck, I think. I don't know if they had a coaching change. It was supposed to work out, didn't work out. What have you guys been thinking about Arizona, Darren?
Well, Noah Fafita is back at quarterback, and that was one of the very few positives I could find here about Arizona. Brent Brennan could very well be on the hot seat in year 2. Obviously, Fafita's greatest weapon, Tetairoa McMillan, is now, I believe, a Carolina Panther. And despite that connection there, I mean, this team was towards the bottom in points scored. They were towards the bottom in yards gained. And defensively, they were one of 4 Big 12 teams to allow over 31 points and 400 yards a game. I really don't see anything here to get excited about. I mean, FanDuel, I don't know what FanDuel is currently. When I wrote it down a week ago, they were plus 6,500. DraftKings has them at plus 8,000. Win total of either 4.5 or 5.5, depending on where you shop. They host BYU, they host Baylor, but they do go to Iowa State and Arizona State. That K-State game, if you're thinking about conference bets in any way, shape, or form, remember that is a non-conference game. They scheduled K-State and Arizona. It's been a home and home before Arizona came over to the Big 12, so that game early in the season will not count, so just keep that in mind. But there's nothing here that excites me at all. I just don't know how Arizona's going to score. I mean, they had trouble scoring when they had McMillan. I don't even know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is a team in transition. I mean, it's not a great start in the conference, but I think I mean, this year there's not really much positive to look at. I mean, their strength of schedule, number 4 in the conference, is not helping them either. Team that can't score, playing a pretty tough schedule. It doesn't look very positive here, and not surprising. I still do think that there could be something here in the future, but it feels like they're a long way out, and maybe they're even further out than they were last year. So I don't see much positive happening with them this year.
Okay. Well, let's keep it moving with the bottom feeders, if you will. Let's go to Darren's original favorite coach, Oklahoma State. Here we go, Captain Hairdo. I think they'll win more games in the Big 12 this year than they won last year.
They might not.
Maybe.
I mean, it's a pretty low bar. They got to, but
don't be so flippant on that. I don't know.
What do you think about your boy Gundy out there in Oklahoma State?
Pete, you go first, man.
Yeah. We can save your ranting for a minute here.
Not even going to rant.
This is a team that's in a full rebuild. I mean, they lost their one weapon. There's really, the cupboard is pretty bare. I don't know. I don't know where they go here. I don't really think they're going to be all that much fun to watch. I don't think they'll do any better than last year, honestly. So I don't. There's really nothing here with this team. I mean, it's not even worth talking about, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you remember after their 2023 season, 2024, there talks like, oh, Ollie Gordon's back, the entire offensive line is back. This team's going to battle for the conference title. And like Tim had said, with their 0-9 conference record last year, we all saw how that worked out. Well, Ollie Gordon's gone. All 5 of their starting offensive linemen are gone. The 3 quarterbacks on their roster are all freshmen. They've combined to throw 0 passes in their career. This could be one of the worst quarterback situations in all of the FBS. Defensively, this team was terrible as well. Schedule's not awful. I mean, they do get K-State and Iowa State at home. They do have to go to Texas Tech. I mean, FanDuel's got 5.5 juice to the under. I don't know how they get to 5. I mean, the only prediction I would give for this is Gundy's going to lose his job this year. He almost did last year. They're expecting him to turn it around with this roster. I don't know how he's gonna do it. I would lean under. I mean, if you really want to be ballsy, DraftKings is posting 4.5. Juice to the over, so you could probably get a nice plus number if you want to go under 4.5. I don't see how Gundy survives. I mean, he's going on what, year 20, year 21. 2 bad years in a row. He's gonna be. We'll have to ask Mark about that if he comes on before the season, but I have to assume Gundy's on the hot seat. This team just looks, like Pete said, complete start from scratch, rebuild 101. No, sir, I don't like it.
I think the next school is kind of interesting. We're going to go talk about UCF. I mean, they get the new coach, same as the old coach. The thing about UCF is where they're located. They have a lot of talent to pull from. Like, so maybe, kids that don't go to Florida State, don't go to Florida, Miami, or Georgia, like in that area, they come down to UCF to be in the area. They do have a couple transfers. I noticed they have one from Oklahoma. I think they have a couple from the Gators coming in. I would have them as a dark horse. Will not make a bet on these, but they did have a lot of transfers. I think I counted like almost 30 transfers coming in, possibly more. But I think Frost would have to be a miracle worker to get this team to anywhere near the championship game. But if you want to put a dark horse bet, maybe UCF, but I'm not feeling it strongly enough to put a bet on it. But I wouldn't be totally shocked. I'd be mildly surprised if something like that happened. I don't know what you guys think.
The problem with them is I think they have the FSU problem. They don't play defense, right? Defense is abysmal. So you can have talent, but if you're not playing defense, you're not going to stop anybody. They're not going to score enough to outshoot anybody. So I don't know how they get there unless they find a way to play a little defense along the way, and I just don't see them having the personnel to do that. So, and in this conference where there's so much parity, they're in the bottom shelf of this parity. I just don't know how they compete with, heck, even any of the top 6 or 7 teams in this conference. So I think that's going to be a problem for them.
Yeah, you guys are slightly more optimistic than I am here. And I get that Scott Frost was pretty successful there in his first stint. But you're looking at a team that, they led the Big 12 in rush yards. But, hey, DJ Harvey's not there anymore. Their top receiver, Kobe Hudson's gone. This just screams rebuild. I mean, your quarterbacks, you have Cam Fancher, who you all know I just love tremendously. That's sarcasm, by the way. He's terrible. And an Indiana transfer in Tavon Jackson. Neither one instills great confidence here. Pete had already touched on the defense. The only thing remotely promising, all their home games, could be winnable. Like Pete said, if they could find any semblance of a defense, there's really nobody bad coming to them. But they got 3 brutal road games with Texas Tech, BYU, and K-State. FanDuel's got 6.5 juice to the under. And only 2 returning stars on both sides of the ball. God, this just screams like, no bet, but 6.5 under just seems like a decent play. But their bread and butter's running the ball. Now they don't have anybody run the ball, so I don't know. I'm avoiding this team like plague. Thankfully, they're on North Carolina's schedule, so North Carolina.
There we go.
North Carolina should get the one.
Your future bet there. So, let's move on to Cincinnati. This is a team I looked at briefly. I just noticed they have a D Corleone, if I read his name right. So I'm hoping his name is Don, but
it has to be, right? It better be.
Other than if it is, I would take the over for the win totals, because if you don't let them win, they're going to break some kneecaps. But they do have some transfer problems. The offensive line probably isn't going to be good. And let's just call him Don Corleone. I don't know if he's a defensive end, it looks like. I don't think he's going to make enough of a difference there. He's supposed to be one of their better players, I guess, is what they're saying. I'm just not feeling it. This is another team I just glossed over briefly. I'm going to move along and not bet on them. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts.
I think this is a team that's trending in the right direction. They're not there yet. Right? It's not going to be a great year for them, but he's building it correctly. I think he's building the trenches out really nicely. So I think, and I think this is part of the transition coming to the Big 12. You got to be more physical. This team is adapting to be more physical. So I see that coming. So I like what they're doing for the long term. They're just not there yet. It's going to take a couple more years down the path. But yeah, I do like the trajectory here.
Yeah, this starts the quarterbacks that I kind of like here. Brendan Sorsby, an Indiana transfer, not a bad year last year. Completed almost 2/3 of his passes, 18 TDs, only 7 picks, 9 rushing touchdowns on top of that. He's at least got somebody that can run the offense there. But then again, is Satterfield on the hot seat? They started off actually really good. I don't know if you guys remember, they lost 5 straight to end the year. So it's not like they weren't winning games at some point. They had a good start to 2024. Defensively, looks like they're losing 7 starters. Only 5 picks from the defense, only 21 sacks, which over the course of 12 games, obviously not a lot. But like Pete said, I do think at least with Sorsby, they are headed in the right direction. And maybe Satterfield potentially being in trouble. He can get a little bit more out of these guys. 6.5 for a win total. That just seems a little high for me. The schedule's not awful. If They lost Corey Kiner, their running back, but they did get a transfer, Twan Walker, who's probably just as good, I would think. Statistically, he's not that far off, so I don't see an issue there with the run game. You just lose that much on defense, though. I don't know if he can get to 6.5 because there's a lot of solid offenses in this conference, obviously. But nothing here for me, for this team. Just avoiding them.
Okay, let's go to Rich Rod and his bunch, West Virginia, the no TikTok dancing West Virginia Mountaineers. What I noticed, they have a crap ton of transfers. Yeah. They may lead the country in transfers. I don't like, a lot of new faces, especially that many. It's got to be at least more than half the team is transfers for this year. It looks like the list has kept going. So they did get. I think they had a decent ending to last year. I think they won like 2 or 3 in a row or something like that, 3 or 4 maybe. I don't see them continuing to trend with all these new faces. I didn't check on the win total. I was just looking for a conference winner at first. I don't know if either of you guys have a bet on these. I do not. Darren, what you're thinking with West Virginia?
Yeah, I'll go first because I know Rich Rod is Pete's guy, so I'll save the last spot for him. Listen, we watched a lot of Jacksonville State last year thanks to the midweek schedules. And if we know one thing about Rich Rodriguez, his offense is going to be a lot of fun. He's going to take these guys that aren't going to get tired. He's going to run a play every chance he can get. Jacksonville State was a lot of fun to watch last year. That being said, who the hell's going to run this offense? I have zero idea. It's any one of 3 guys. Your guess is as good as mine who is going to get this job. Defensively, this team was really bad. They brought in Zach Alley as the new defensive coordinator to try and help. Only 3 returning starters, combined, does not bode well. But then again, if you're running the Rich Rod style of offense, you might as well start fresh anyway. So the schedule's kind of brutal, maybe. Utah, Texas Tech. I don't know what you guys think about Colorado, but they get those 3 at home. But going to BYU and Arizona State, there's probably a couple losses right there. I see DraftKings and FanDuel's got 5.5. Both juiced to the under. That kind of makes sense. Jaheim White at running back is probably the only good thing right now going in. A lean under, but they could very well be must-see TV before too long with Rich Rod running this show. So lean to the under, but no play.
Yeah, that's what I would expect. I am a Rich Rod guy. The transfers are no surprise because when he brings his system in, he wants certain types of players, and the players that don't fit that system, that they're not fast enough, that type of thing, they leave, right? So happened at Michigan, happens everywhere he goes. That's not a surprise. The team is going to be fun to watch. It's going to take a little time to get it going. The nice thing about his offense and the way he runs is they don't really need superstars. They just need people who can fit the mold and do what he asks them to do, right? So, I think he'll find those pieces. It's not going to happen immediately. They're going to lose some games early. It's going to be a little bit of a growth going here. I'm making a bet on this one. It truly is a homer bet. I wouldn't expect anybody to follow me on this thing, but over under is 5.5. The schedule is not very favorable. Everything logically tells me don't touch or go under. So the idiot in me said, well, if you're going to go with Rich, then go big. So I am playing 2 units on the over 5.5 for West Virginia. And it's just, the feeling I have is that once the offense starts going, and it will start going, they'll probably win a few games they might not, shouldn't, or probably should not win. That's kind of been his MO for a long time. So we'll see what happens this year. It could be a complete, flame out, because it's a long way to go changing personnel like that. But certainly I like the future. But I do think later in the year, we'll see a pretty competitive offense. Yeah, the defense is hot garbage, but every Rich Rod team is kind of that way anyway. You got to outscore everybody. So that's the way it kind of plays everywhere he goes. So that's no surprise.
That's because they don't get any rest because all of his offenses are scoring in 4 plays or less. So before the defense knows it, hey, guys, you got to get back out there. We're kicking off.
Yeah, why would you commit there when you're not going to be on the field, right? You're not getting scenes, or you're not going to get drafted, so you got to go someplace you're in the field. So, yeah.
Any final thoughts, you guys, on West Virginia? We just move on to Houston.
Let's move on, baby.
Let's keep it moving. Let's go on to Houston. Aaron, what you thinking? I do not have a bet on these guys.
This offense was so bad last year. They really cannot do anything but improve. I like Connor Wegman coming
do.
over from A&M. I mean, he can only help this offense. A lot of the problem was the offensive line. Well, Willie Fritz snagged himself 5 new offensive linemen in the portal, so that certainly can't hurt. Defensively, this team was really, really good, and a lot of that is coming back. So I kind of trust Willie Fritz. I don't know if you guys remember 2021 when he was at Tulane, they went 2-10. The following year, they went 12-2, and I believe they won the Cotton Bowl that year. So Willie can turn some things around. Last year they did beat Utah, they did beat Kansas State. So I mean, they are capable of pulling off an upset or two over the course of the season. The schedule again, not awful. I mean, Texas Tech comes to them. They do go to Arizona State, but there's really nothing else on their schedule that I could look at and say like, wow, they're really going to get blown out there. So this is one where if you really want to be ballsy, and I did not bet this, but I may. So DraftKings has got 6.5 juice to the under. FanDuel's got 5.5 juice to the over. You can get plus 140 at DK if you want to go over 6.5 here, which is where I'm leaning. I mean, anything offensively out of this team, they're going to be in play every week. So I love Houston this year. Not enough to bet them because Connor Wegman hasn't been the most consistent or most healthy quarterback we've ever seen. But I really like what they're bringing to the table. I mean, they're like the 11th longest odds, something like 35-1 or something like that. I think they're going to finish in the top half of the Big 12, no worse than 8th. So I'm predicting bowl game. They're not going to be Oregon anytime soon offensively, but they're not going to be 2024 Houston either. So I like Houston. Be a little ballsy. Lean over the 6.5, but not an official play as of yet.
Yeah, pretty much ditto everything you said. I mean, I like this team. I think Wegman is an excellent upgrade. If he's behind a competent offensive line, which I think it should be now, right? I think they're going to score some points. That defense is good. And you mentioned it, right? 35-1. If somebody really wants to take a flyer and throw a couple shekels at something to win the conference, I mean, yeah, what are the chances? They're low, but they could. I mean, there's so much parity in this conference that this is a conference where somebody could step up from the cellar and win it, right? Because they're going to beat each other up every week. So if you're going to take a flyer on somebody, this maybe in this conference makes some sense. So they're intriguing. I'm going to be watching them closely this year. So I'm curious what they do here.
Okay. Well, let's move on to Colorado. Coach Prime, without his kid, they lost two of the top 170 picks of the NFL draft this year. So it's a big loss there. Darren, one of your favorite teams here.
It's not, and we definitely want you to go last here because I know you love some Colorado and some Coach Prime. I don't know if you guys feel this way or not, but I just wonder. I know Dion signed the extension, but now that your kids are gone, and your top playmaker on both sides of the ball is gone, are you like fully committed to this anymore? Are you possibly saying, "Hey, look what I did my first couple of years here"? Maybe trying for an NFL gig. I don't know. I mean, offensively, this team's not going to be 2024 Colorado. Let's face it. Okay, you got Caden Salter, who at times looked incredibly disinterested at Liberty, and some 5-star hotshot Julian Lewis. We don't even know who's going to be the starting QB. Jimmy Horn's gone. Will Shepard's gone from your receiving core. I mean, we're going to find out, was this team really all Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter? Defensively, they weren't terrible. I mean, they only have 50% of their returning production, but more of that is on the defensive side of the ball. I hate this schedule, though. BYU, Arizona State. Tough. It does, yeah. Arizona State, Iowa State, BYU all coming to Boulder. They got to go to Utah. They got to go to K-State. 6.5 is a win total, and I know, Tim, you're going one way. I just think the under is the play here, but I didn't bet it. But they lost two of the best players in football. I mean, how are they going to? I know they got some quality pieces in the portal, but None of those pieces are
They
Travis
did.
Hunter. So it's like,
Well, I mean, that's none of them. I mean, who is really? Who are they going to get that totally replace him? But
right. And at college, that's kind of a big deal,
Yes.
So
Yeah, I seriously considered this team as my disappointment today. I think it can go. Okay, let me just say, I think it can go one of two ways. Right? There's talent here. Yeah, you lost some talent, but there's definitely talent here. If you can harness the talent, they can be good. They can be quite good. However, to your point, which you said, Darren, I think I don't know how interested he is, and I think if it starts to go south, it's really going to go south. I think the wheels will just come right off the truck, and then he'll probably be gone, right? And he'll go to the NFL and go do something else. So I don't see them being a middler here. They're either going to be really good or really bad, right? And it's just I don't know how to play that, so I did nothing with them. It'll be interesting to see what happens either way. If they're really good, to listen to Coach Prime ramble on all the time is rather entertaining, and if they're really bad and the wheels come off, that's even more entertaining. So,
yeah.
From perspective, I'm looking forward to the whole thing, and we'll see how it goes.
Can you get a line on Coach Prime leaving Colorado to coach North Carolina when Bill Belichick leaves? Is that bet out there somewhere? If anybody wants to put that up, I might take a step.
That's gonna be Belichick's kid, isn't it? Isn't that who he's keeping the seat warm for?
Probably.
Yeah. So, well, I actually placed a couple of bets with these guys. You said it's going to be really, really good or really, really bad. I think it's going to be really, really good. They lose Travis Hunter. Obviously, no one is Travis Hunter. So I'm kind of combining what I feel and my homerism. Hakeem Williams did go to Colorado. So he's going to be on a receiving end there from either the young hotshot kid or Salters. The defense is going to continue to improve. I like the coaching staff, even though the defensive line coach is Warren Sapp, and he went to Miami, so therefore I do not like him. But he's got a gold jacket for a reason, and he's got the defense improving. And on the other side of the ball, if I read it right and saw it right, they got my guy. They got Marshall Faulk with the running backs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're a parent and you have a running back kid, he's going to get coached. I mean, who would you rather have other than Marshall Faulk? I mean, picking up blocks, reading defenses, all that stuff. So I like the coaching staff. He's going to some of his fellow Hall of Fame buddies. And, you've seen interviews with Warren Sapp, and he seems to love coaching. He seems to love it. I mean, they're really getting into it. Marshall Faulk's all in, it looks like. I saw a couple of interviews with him and a couple of screenshots with him talking to the team. I think the positive attitude and everything, I think it's going to boil over. I think Prime is a good coach. So, yeah, plus 1,600. I have them for winning the conference. Do I think they'll win? We'll see. But that'll be a nice they got me a little bit of money out there, plus 4,000 last year. With the buyout, they got me a little chunk of money. So I think I can count on them again to get me a little chunk of money this year. I also bet the over. I forget what I got on there. So over was 6.5 wins. I bet them as well. So if I think they're going to be close to the championship game, they got to win more than 6 games to do that. So I bet a unit on each. I got Colorado plus 1,600 to win the Big 12 and Colorado 1 unit to win more than 6.5 games.
I can't argue with you because your Colorado's, after last year. But I'm just looking at that schedule while you were talking. I mean, this tough. Team could easily start out 0-2 and then lose 4 of their last 5 games. I don't know where is the Wyoming game at home. Yeah, that's a home game. All right, so let's give them that one. But I mean, the first 2 and the last 2, that could be 4 losses right off the bat. And then you got Iowa State and Arizona State right before Wyoming. Man, that is tough.
They could be 0-2. They could be 2-0.
This is also true. This is also very true.
We shall see. But yeah, I think there's something to what he's doing with his coaching staff and getting the players. He's definitely attracting the players.
I'm gonna laugh so hard when Rich Rod puts
that. What's that?
Someone laughs so hard when Rich Rod puts up like 54 of them. Rich Rod's going to run that defense right into the ground. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, it's on the road. Okay, so yeah.
I can't doubt you, man, because like I said, you know the Colorados, but props to you because that's a tough looking schedule.
It is.
Yeah,
It
but
is.
I like it. You know, sometimes you just got to put it out there and see what happens. But
That's how
I
I
do
think
like
it is.
a common trend with all of these teams we've been talking about. You've always said the schedule's not awful. I mean, this isn't like
I mean,
an
that's a
SEC
little
type
slightly
schedule.
more awful than some of the schedules we've gone over. Just, I mean, it starts
Slightly more
difficult, it
awful, but
ends difficult.
I think they're a slightly better team than some of these other
Fair enough.
teams. So slightly less awful for a slightly better team. So I'm willing to roll the dice.
No, like I said, I don't doubt you, man. But like I said, props to you because that's
Well, we'll see if he's a good coach. I mean, you say he's a good coach. I'm on the fence.
We'll see.
We'll see. He's got talent. I mean, he's got people with talent. So does he do anything with them or not? Right? I mean, that's why
I think that hotshot kid's going to beat out Salters. If I had to put money on something, I would bet on that. He was a 5-star. I think he was like the third quarterback in the country or something for this year.
but then why hasn't he played yet anywhere? Didn't he come over from oh god, where the hell did he come over from?
Where did he come from?
USC, but I might be wrong on that. But like to Pete's point, those 2 home games against Georgia Tech and BYU, let's say they lose those. Does it go off the rails then? It could.
Yeah, I'm saying, I don't know.
You know what I mean? But like it's like a Bill Belichick thing. He's either 9-3 or 3-9.
Yeah, I don't
picture 9-3.
I don't picture either one of those guys being like a calming influence in the locker room. Either it's going really good or the shit blows up, right? It's just it doesn't not an in between.
Right.
All right. Well, man, we can't doubt him.
Texas Christian University, TCU, the Horned Frogs, they're up next. I have no plays on this one or no real thoughts. A lot of murkiness there. Darren, let's start with you with TCU.
Well, they played North Carolina week 1, so I'm really not happy about that. This was the one conference game that I think North Carolina was going to lose. Again, going back to the QBs, Josh Hoover, dude is legit. He improved his completion percentage and his TD to pick ratio from the year before. The problem here offensively is they lost about 200 receptions, and their top running back only had 460 yards rushing. So who's going to catch all of his passes? Who's going to run the ball when he's not completing those passes? They led the Big 12 in passing yardage. That's probably not going to happen again. And they had a lot of trouble stopping the run last year. So cautiously optimistic about this team because I do like Josh Hoover a lot. But again, we've got 6.5 win totals at both DraftKings and FanDuel. Juice to the over. But here's a schedule that does look bad. You got Colorado, Iowa State, and Baylor coming to you. You got to go to K-State, BYU, and Arizona State. If Josh Hoover can't find anybody to catch the ball, this is going to be a long year for TCU here. No bets here, but I hope Carolina beats them. That's
they are ranked as the number 1 most difficult schedule in the conference. And
are they? Okay, that seems to make sense.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I look at this team like they're in purgatory. Like you're right. I think they have quarterback. Love the talent there, right? Defense not so good. No depth. They're just they're an injury away from being irrelevant. I don't know. They're just. No, again, they could be okay. I don't know. I just don't have a good read on this team. I just don't feel it, and I think the defense is a problem. I think the depth is a problem, and they just they're a middler. There's a kicking around the middle here, and that's about the best thing I can say for them.
All right.
And what's funny, Pete? Speaking of teams that are an injury away, brings us to the next team that we're talking about.
Yes, it does.
Another one of Tim's favorites.
Jayhawk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done off the Jalen Daniels bandwagon here. I'm done. So I left Kansas. Another team I just left alone. Didn't even look at them. I don't know what you guys got thoughts on.
They're back at their home field, right? They don't have to play in Arrowhead anymore, or wherever the hell they were playing last year. I believe they got their home field back, so that helps. This almost was a bet that I was going to make here. This 7.5 win total just screams under here. All right, we talked about Jalen Daniels briefly. Injured a lot, but did manage to play all 12 games last year, which leads me to believe that's not going to happen this year. Hasn't worked out in the spring because he had some off-season knee surgery, so that already doesn't help. They lost their 1,200-yard rusher, Devin Neal, to the NFL, and the top 7 pass catchers on this offense, they're all gone. Defensively, most of the team stats, bottom half of the Big 12, only 3 returning starters on that side of the ball. Gosh. Yeah, I strong lean to the under 7.5 here. I don't see Jalen Daniels playing in another 12 straight games here. Schedule again, not terrible, but I don't think Daniels is playing in all 12 of those games.
Yeah, I'm the other side on this one. So this is my surprise here. And in this conference, as we talked about already, right? There's so much parity. Yeah, if they can keep the man upright, they're going to score. They're number 14 of 16 in strength of schedule, so their schedule is very favorable here, right? So keep the man upright, they're going to score. Their schedule leans into it at 7.5. I went through the schedule game by game earlier today. I could see 8 wins. I would not be surprised. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's something interesting here. I don't love it. I did play it. I don't love it, but I think as a surprise, it's intriguing. But as you said, 1 injury away, right? And that's I rolled the dice on this one. So I did a 1-unit play over 7.5 with Kansas as my surprise in this conference.
I like when we disagree on things.
That's more fun that way.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Too many times we're all in agreement. It's nice that we got some differing opinions every once in a while.
Hey, in this conference, it's easy to disagree entirely.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, let's move on to Iowa State, I believe, right? There they are.
There they are.
Oh, boy. They lost some talent, to say the least.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah. But a running back, 2 wide receivers. I think they both went to Houston, didn't they, or New Orleans? Where'd they both go?
I don't know. But
I could have sworn there was one team drafted both of them.
This is like TCU, man. I mean, who is Rocco Beck going to throw the ball to? I mean, Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins both had over 1,100 yards each. 17 touchdowns between the 2 of them. Defensively, their secondary, they lost 4 starters back there. Their rush defense wasn't great last year to begin with. Only 4 starters coming back on that side of the ball. Gosh, no bets here. I am interested that week 0 game, the Dublin, Ireland game against K-State. That should be a lot of fun because both these teams have high expectations conference-wise. So can't wait to watch that. But again, just too many losses on defense and some 2 solid players in the receiving core. Not betting the under 7.5, I think might even be a little too low. I still think they're good enough to win 8 games, but avoid.
Yeah, this is a tough one, right? I mean, to me, it's challenging. I mean, I've seen them all over the map. I saw them like number 2 in the conference. I've seen them all over the place. I don't know how to call this one. I mean, you got a couple wide receivers coming in. Townsend from UCF. I mean, I think you got some talent coming in, which could help. Defense. I mean, it comes down to the defense. They lost a lot of players, but they've been a relatively consistent defense. So some of that's got to be coaching. They got some talent, so I would expect the defense to be decent, if not decent plus. So they're going to be interesting to watch. I agree that game is going to be a really fun watch. But this is just a hard we're a betting show. I don't know how you bet this team right now. I would lean over that 7.5, but yeah, I'm not touching this thing.
If the line was a little higher, I should mention that the bets that I placed are on Hard Rock Bet down here in Florida. They had them at plus 1,100.
Plus 1,100. Okay.
If it was a little higher, I might have bet it, but I mean, with 1,600 with Colorado, I went with them instead. So, but yeah, they always seem to find somebody. As far as losing talent, they always seem to find somebody that no one's ever heard of, and they end up being really good. So, but anyway, any final thoughts with that, guys?
No.
Or should we move on to BYU?
Like Pete said, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, understandable. Bring them young. Interesting team. I don't know if you guys wanted to go first because I got to play on these guys. But
I can be brief, real quick on this one. Then you can, and then Darren can go. Another team that I'm just having issues trying to figure them out. They're a good team. They brought in some talent, so I could see them being very competitive. I just don't trust them, and I don't know why. And that's I have nothing to back that up other than the fact that I don't love their roster, and yeah, I have nothing on them really. So
I don't so much have a problem with the roster. I mean, a lot of the skill guys on offense are back. Retzlaff, LJ Martin, Chase Roberts, their top receiver. Defensively, D-line got hit a little bit, but I believe all of their linebackers are returning. They're the best defensive team in the Big 12. I don't know if they'll be that again, but they won't be too far away from the top. The one thing and I'm looking at this schedule, and I made a note here that the schedule kind of concerned me a little bit. So, like, going to East Carolina, like pretty much all the way across the country, then coming all the way back to go to Colorado, then West Virginia, Arizona, Utah, that's fine. Then you got to go all the way out to Iowa State. Then you get a week off. Then you can go all the way back out to Texas Tech. I mean, it's just – I don't know the mileage. I just kind of took a look at this, and like it seems like they got one of the worst like travel deals. I mean, even just look at that last column there. You go to Texas Tech, then you go back home to TCU, then you go all the way to Ohio to play Cincinnati, then you go all the way back home to play Central Florida with no weeks off there. I gotta assume that's gonna catch up to you at some point.
Maybe that's it, right? Maybe doesn't this feel like it happens to them all the time? They get these schedules where they're just all over the country, back and forth, and eventually they just seem to wear down.
Yeah, I mean, this conference obviously is spread out as ACC, with Stanford and California, who couldn't be further away from the Atlantic coast. But it just seems like looking at where they're going, that there's just too much travel in there. I don't know. I like you. I don't really have a solid read here. I think offensively they'll be fine. I can just kind of see them wearing down towards the end. That Utah, Iowa State, Texas Tech run. Oh my God, they could lose all three of those without any issues whatsoever. So, not a fan of the schedule. But I mean, then again, DraftKings got 8.5 juice to the under. FanDuel's got 7.5 juice to the over. Sadly, 8 kind of seems about right.
Yeah.
I kind of like East Carolina. I don't think they're going to beat BYU, but it wouldn't shock the hell out of me. But yeah, I can't with that schedule. No play here.
Well, I got a couple plays. Big surprise. I just think that they're well coached. I like the coach. I think he gets more out of his players. They do have that last column there was pretty rough, but they do have a bye in there. I just think they're just going to be a damn good team. They're at plus 750 to win the Big 12. And I also have the over of 7.5 wins. I think they can win at least 3 out of the 4 of that last column right there. Portland State, they can win. They can win East Carolina. They have to go, they're going to East Carolina, but still East Carolina. I think they're better than them anyway. At Arizona, they're home against Utah, so they get Utah at home. I just think the schedule lines up. The schedule looks pretty soft. I mean, if you ask me, over just with the teams, you say most schedules are not awful. This is even easier than not awful.
Yeah, so, I don't hate the schedule. Anybody worth a damn is coming to Provo. I just, I just worry about some of that travel. And that last column is not difficult. I mean, they should win 3 of those 4, but I mean, they should probably lose to Texas Tech. But yeah, those last 3 are winnable. It's just like, what kind of shape are they going to be in? Because that they got some. Yeah, they piss somebody off who makes a schedule because I just don't like the travel. But yeah, like you said, the schedule certainly. I mean, they could win 10.
Yeah, for sure.
They could also win 7.
Yeah, I do like the bye week right after. It looks like Iowa State. October 25th,
they're going to need
November
that.
8th. So they'll get a bye week. They'll need it because they got that long trip. Well, BYU to Texas Tech. It's not like they're going to Miami or anything like that. So, but yeah, those are my 2 plays. I like the over in the 7.5 wins, and I got a little bet on there win the conference. Let's see what happens. I'll roll the dice with them. Any thoughts?
No.
No. We're not in agreement anyway.
It's more fun that way.
Yeah. Another team that's, I think they're getting pretty decent odds on, but I have no interest in is the Baylor Bears. Next up. Take it away, boys.
I'll go quick because I'm short on this one. It's a team I never count out. They got some good talent coming in. Last year's a little bit of a step back. I think they'll step back up a little bit. I think they'll be a pretty solid team. You know, they did lose. I'm a little concerned on the defensive side. You know, they lost some key players on that side of the ball, so that would concern me a little bit. So you know, can the young guys step in and fill those holes? I don't know. So I think they'll be good, but I don't see them winning the conference, and I didn't see a play that made a lot of sense for me here.
Yeah, numbers too low here for me, but I do like this team, especially offense. I think Sawyer Robertson is probably one of the best QBs that nobody like really talks about. You know, the talk last year, oh, it's DeQuan Finn coming over from Toledo. Yeah, well, he lasted 2 games, and I don't know if he got hurt or he just wasn't productive. But you know, Sawyer Robertson had over 3,000 yards, like you know, not even a full season with 28 touchdowns, only 8 picks. You know, throw in a running back that had over 1,000 yards as a freshman. Offensively, this team is, my gosh, they're just lovely. But like Pete said, the defense is a concern. Before they lost that bowl game to LSU, they did win 6 straight to end the season. And I think around that time, their head coach Aranda started taking over the defensive play calling. Maybe that had something to do with the 6-game winning streak. I don't know, but again, it's certainly a nice schedule. You know, all the big boys come to them: K-State, Utah, and Arizona State. You know, road game at TCU may or may not be tough for them. I don't know. It's not like they got to travel far, according to Tim's map there. So, again, this is one team, and you know, probably this applies to a handful of teams in the Big 12. You can get anything out of them defensively. 7.5 juice to the under seems kind of like the wrong way. Like I would see them possibly as an 8-win team. But not enough trust in that defense to put a bet down. And certainly that number is definitely too low to win the conference. But
I mean, strength of schedule, 15 out of 16. So I mean, you know, that schedule is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you look at them last year, 3 of those 4 losses were to ranked teams. And the one that they lost to that wasn't a ranked team was that Hail Mary nonsense, that Colorado game that they ended up losing in overtime due to what the hell they did there. But, you know, they were a terrible Hail Mary away from, you know, being a really solid team. So I like them. Up and coming, but way too short a number to win the conference.
Right. Well, let's move on. We got Kansas State. This seems to be a popular pick for the Big 12. Quarterback's coming back. That's a big deal. I know, Darren, if you want to start us off with Kansas State, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I won't say a lot here other than that I really like this team. They lost a little bit defensively, had some injuries they were dealing with during the spring. If they can get that figured out, I do like this team to win the conference. Didn't bet it because I think the number is a little too short. You know, Avery Johnson is good, but he's a little bit inconsistent. You know, he didn't even complete 60% of his passes, still had 10 picks. Dylan Edwards is gone, but DJ Giddens is actually gone. Dylan Edwards is returning, so that'll be good. Couple starters missing from the offensive line going into this year, but overall, you know, I like this team. I believe they are my pick to win it, even though with the craziness of the Big 12, I don't dare put a bet down on it. But also remember this, and we touched on earlier, that non-conference game against Arizona will not count for the conference standing, so don't get all excited if they beat them in week 2 or 3 or whatever it is. You know, road game at Utah, probably the toughest road test they're looking at. But yeah, I like this team here. As I said, you know, DraftKings or FanDuel, they both have 8.5. One's juice to the over, one's juice to the under. So depending on which way you're feeling on that, you know, shop around, get the best price. But I like this team. I think this team can win 10 games with not too much of a sweat.
Can't argue that. Yeah, I mean, this is a team that seems to just kind of chug along and kind of flies a little under the radar. You know, good backfield. I like the backfield quite a bit. I think the defense will be solid. So I think, you know, I think what will happen with this team is they'll kind of fly under the radar all year, and suddenly it'll be November, and they'll be in contention for the championship game, right? The conference championship. I would not be surprised at all if that's the way it plays out with this team. It always seems, well, at least recently, that you're watching them do something late in the year that something like that. So I would not be surprised at all. I don't dislike that bet. I mean, the number's too short, as you said, so I wouldn't really bet it, but I do like the team. Yeah.
Yeah, going to be boring. We're all in agreement here. The number's too short to bet them. I like the team to win as well. So really, I can't say anything that you or Darren haven't said already. So if you got nothing different to add, we'll just move on to Arizona State, last year's champion. There they are. Whew. Lost some talent, but got some coming in. They got the quarterback, the Levitt kid. He's back. I think that's a pretty big deal as well. Pete, take it away. What are you thinking?
I have no idea with this team. Honest to God,
I'm still glad you went first because that's what I was going to say.
I mean, last year it was like Scadaboo left, Scadaboo right, Scadaboo up the middle, put him on defense. He plays defense too, or whatever. I mean, it was like him everywhere, and it didn't seem like anybody else was doing anything. At least that was my perception. Yeah, so I mean, and now he's gone. He's in New York with the Giants, right? So I don't know what this team is without him. I mean, he's logged so many miles on that field that is it just because he was that good and you just can't, you just have to keep him going, or is nobody else as nearly as good? And he was, so I don't know. So I'm just at a complete loss with this team. Heck, they could be world beaters. I don't know. But I kind of got lost in the Scadaboo thing last year, and I don't know where to go from there. So that's my 2 cents.
Bro, I could have sworn you stole my notes because everything you said was just about what I have written down. If you like Arizona State, or your thoughts on Arizona State, I should say, pretty much comes down to your thoughts on Cam Scadaboo.
Yes.
Did the rest of the team, including Sam Levitt, flourish because people were paying so much attention to Cam because they knew, like Pete said, run left, run right, run up the middle, catch a pass, return kicks, intercept the ball, bring water to the team, coach the offense. Yeah, whatever. The guy did everything. Yeah. Or is this team really good? And whoever steps in, I believe it's going to be the Army running back, Kanye Udo, transferred over. So if anybody knows about running the ball way more often than they probably should, that was a great program to go to get your running back. Now, the concern I have about him taking over is, Scadaboo caught 45 passes last year. This guy's caught 2 in his 2 years at Army combined, like 1 catch each year.
It was probably an accident too.
Yeah, it probably bounced off an offensive lineman. He just happened to be standing there and caught the ball twice. But, so are you going to have somebody else be that pass catching, guy out of the backfield? Jordan Tyson, stud wide receiver, missed the Big 12 championship game and that playoff game with an injury. He's back. I think a lot of people probably forgot about him. Offensively, even without Scadaboo, I think they're still going to be okay. But seeing, 5-1 on DraftKings, 6-1 on FanDuel, win total of only 8.5. After I looked at everything, seemed kind of low. But I mean, you're going to Baylor, you're going to Utah, you're going to Iowa State, you're going to Colorado. Texas Tech comes to see you. I can see why it's 8.5, because if Scadaboo really was that much, meant that much to the offense, this team could regress a little bit. I mean, but yeah, like Pete said, I don't really know what to expect here. I do like Sam Levitt. I think he's legit, but we'll see what Scadaboo meant to that offense. When's their first legit game? Like Utah on October 11th, maybe?
Yeah, so they can rack up some wins here.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely got a cupcake, 9 conference games. Those first 3 are all, they'll start off good. But, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like you, Pete. I don't know, with losing Scadaboo is going to be a huge deal or just, not so much.
Well, I forgot to mention, right? I did pick them as my disappointment just for that reason, right? Just because with Scadaboo gone, I don't know how you replace that, so I don't know what happens. So I assume they're going to underperform. I could be wrong.
Well, I didn't place any bets on Arizona State because I have another bet still coming, and you can't bet on everything. So,
Are you sure? When I plugged in all the bets, I seem to be typing your name quite a bit.
That's a good point.
So I got to go listen to our next bankroll management show. Don't bet on everything. That'll be coming up in a week or so stay tuned for that. Check us out. So let's just move on from Arizona State. Utah. I like this team. The defense ought to be good. If they could stop getting injured, that would be lovely. I think this would be a dark horse bet. I believe they were, I forget what line was on there. Did you have the line on there, Darren, still?
They're 7-1 at FanDuel, or that might have changed. I think they're down to 6-1 now at FanDuel. DJ had the 1. Yep. I would like that if that's still actually available. I hadn't bet it as of yet. But yeah, pretty decent change in odds there. Actually, let me take a quick peek and see what DraftKings does have.
I had it written down in my notes, and I'm just like...
I wrote it down like a week ago, but I'm sure it's probably changed since then. Let's see. Conference winner, DraftKings, Big 12. Blah, blah, blah. Utah, they're down to 8-1. Forget it. I don't want
yeah, that's what I got them at 850.
Oh, okay. That's not terrible. A better number than what Peter and I are looking at, so that's good.
Oh, yeah. Turn over to my last page of notes, and that's where it was. So, yes, 850. I have them winning the conference at 850.
Not a bad play at all.
No. If they stay healthy and the defense plays the way it would, I think the offense will get a little bit better. And obviously, if I think they're going to be close to the championship game, they got to win more than 7 games to get there. I'm looking at their schedule. I think they do have 7 wins. Will not say the E word, but I'm looking at I can see 8 or 9 wins. If they stay healthy, I think they're going to be right there at the end. Defensive carry. The coach, I like the coach, even though he's kind of secretive when it comes to who's playing. But I took Utah. My final 2 plays for the Big 12. So I got over 7.5 wins, and I got to win the conference at plus 850. These are both on Hard Rock Bets. I don't know what you guys think.
Still time to play more.
I'll say I'll go quick because I don't have a whole lot here. First of all, Cam Rising finally retired due to medical issues, so he won't have to worry week to week whether he's playing or not. So that'll certainly help. How many crazy ass line moves did we see in Utah games last year? He's going to play. He's not going to play. Yeah. Okay. He's officially retired now, so that's one less thing we all have to worry about as bettors. Second thing, if you have not seen Devin Dampier play football, please go to YouTube. Look him up after you watch our video, of course. Just look at this dude's highlights for New Mexico. He is insane. I mean, Utah is going to be a much, much better offensive club this year with this guy. And to help him out to transition up to a big boy conference, his new offensive coordinator also came from New Mexico. So he should a little bit easier transition. They'll run some plays that he's comfortable running. This dude, I mean, good God, over 1,100 rush yards. I mean, he had 12 passing touchdowns, so 12 picks, but he had 19 rushing touchdowns. This dude is electric. I mean, you are going to love watching him, and you'll actually more of the country will get to see him now that he's in the Big 12. But he's going to be the one that's why I like those bets, Tim, because Devin Dampier is going to help you win some games. But
he could be this year's Gio Lopez.
Oh no, don't put that kind of pressure on him. Now we don't need that. Okay, you don't want to screw up your bet by putting added pressure on him. Looking at that schedule, all the big boys come to them. So Texas Tech, Arizona State, Kansas State, all home games for Utah. I like both of those bets a lot. And I like
road games at BYU, but I think they take a bus there, or they might actually Uber there.
The altitude shouldn't affect them. They're all in Utah. Devin Dampier will be fine. BYU will be sucking wind, chasing him up and down the field. Love both of those bets. I didn't bet anything involved, but I really do like Utah this year. Devin Dampier is ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't argue. I mean, this team is good. I love the coach. He develops players. They play for him. Defense is good. You nailed it. It's injuries, right? I mean, if they can stay healthy, this is a really good team. And maybe we should drop a couple of those videos into our playlist, Darren. Let some of our listeners take a look and watch them on our YouTube.
If I find some,
that'd be a good idea. Yeah.
Hey, there's got to be something out there. Dude is insane. Yes, I'll find some of that.
And while we mentioned that, you can find us on YouTube at the Targeting Winners page.
Yes.
Also find us on Spotify and Apple. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, a lot of you are starting to watch. We appreciate that because
Should have done that 58 minutes ago, but that's all right.
we are old and forget things. So thank you.
That's right.
You know, it's almost our nap time. So
Right. That's true. Got to get my applesauce ready. Anyway, last team. Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, due to bankroll management issues, I did not make a play on this. They're also pretty spastic. I don't really know what to expect from these guys anyway. So I'm going to let you guys take us home with this one before we go to our picks. What you got?
Yeah, I didn't play it, but I did pick them as my winner here. I didn't play it because the number's too short. It's not worth playing to me, but easiest schedule in the conference. I think it's certainly going to help them. A lot of portal transfers coming in, so a lot of 4-stars coming in as well. So I think it's a really good talent coming in. I really like this team. I think that their upside is pretty high here. The one thing I'm saying, I'm talking out of two sides of my mouth, because the one thing I talk about all the time is I get nervous with teams when their defense is questionable. That is probably their one Achilles heel here is their defense, right? And that usually scares me away from teams. But in this case, I don't think it's that bad. It's just a little, lesser. So I do like this team. I think they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think they can easily win 9 here, maybe even 10 with that schedule, because that schedule is just pretty light. So I think this could be a sleeping giant here, a team that could definitely step up and win this conference. So that's my winner pick for the Big 12 this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna respectfully take the other side here. You said that defense was questionable. That's being very polite, because statistically, this defense was bad and it wasn't even close. They did get David Bailey from Stanford. We talked about the ACC and some of the pieces that Stanford lost after Troy Taylor went. Well, they got the best piece, David Bailey, the linebacker. But that's just one guy. I mean, this defense was like Kent State went. All right, that's unfair. They were not good. Baron Morton back. That certainly is nice. Taj Brooks in the NFL. So now you got to replace 1,500 yards and 17 rush touchdowns. Not going to be super easy. But I get it. The expectations are there. They spent over $10 million in the portal. So there's going to be some pressure to get it done. Whenever you spend that kind of money, people are looking for you to win some games. The odds reflect that. They're one of the favorites at FanDuel. They're, I think, the third betting choice at DraftKings. But yeah, offensively, they're as legit as they come. Totally agree. Defensively, they're cheeks, bro. They got they got some things that they need to work out. The schedule, I'm looking at those teams there. Nothing terrible. I mean, obviously I see the road game at ASU, the road game at K-State, the road game at Utah. They're winnable, but just because, road games, you got to kind of wonder if they can pull that off with that defense. So if Bailey comes in along with some of the other guys they brought in and that defense steps up, yeah, Pete's right. It's a 10-win team easily. They don't fix their issues. A win total of 8.5, juice to the under on DraftKings and FanDuel tells me that the odds makers don't know if they're going to fix these issues or not. But yeah, you have them as your winner. I think I put them down as my disappointment, just because that defense got a lot of work to.
I could see that. I mean, new coordinator, a whole bunch of new talent coming in through the portal. So, I mean, I think the defense is going to look a lot different. Now, will it be better? Time will tell. But it's going to look different. And I think different compared to what they were last year is better. And we'll see where it goes from there. That's what I'm leading into, is I'm expecting the defense just to claw up a little bit and be average. And average would be good. That's what they need.
With that offense, that'll be more than good. Yeah. If they come together quick, yeah, man, you're spot on. 10-win team, no doubt.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap this up as we get ready to close it out here with our predictions let's go over our picks. Pete, take us through it. What do you got?
All right, so going across, my winner, we just talked about Texas Tech and my thoughts around them. Kansas was my surprise team, and I did place a bet on them over 7.5 at 1 unit. Arizona State is my disappointment. We talked about that a little bit ago. And then my other play we talked about earlier is my Rich Rod play, just because I have to. So 2 units on West Virginia over 5.5. I don't feel all that comfortable with that bet, but I got to do it. So anyway, that's my line for this week.
Okay, and I bet on Colorado to win the Big 12, on BYU to win the Big 12, and on Utah to win the Big 12. So my prediction to win the Big 12, Kansas State. So this is basically.
Please explain. I am confused.
He's got 47 bets in the conference.
Explain to the people why this happened.
Okay, this is my thinking behind it. Our whole basis of the show is to grow the bankroll. So if you remember last year, it was Arizona State, Colorado, Kansas State, BYU, and a logjam going into the final week to see who's gonna win this dumpster fire of a conference. So I think Kansas State's going to come through and win the conference. I bet on a team like Colorado because if they're right there, Hard Rock Bet offers buyouts, and the bankroll doesn't care where the money comes from. So, I mean, if they offer me, if they get there with the last week and they said, look, we'll offer you like 8-1 instead of the 16-1, I'll take the guaranteed 8-1. The same thing with BYU. I think BYU might actually get there to the championship game. And if they want to offer me something, I may actually just let them play that out if one of these teams get to the championship game. I think one of them will be. And I think it's going to be Utah. But, I'm just expecting to get some buyouts. I could probably cash in 2 of those buyouts, get some extra money in the bankroll. And then the line on Kansas State was too short. So I prefer 850 with Utah over, 600 with Kansas State. So that's my thinking. Get money in the bankroll and do it any means necessary. I mean, obviously, if you're going to go to a casino, they're not going to offer you a buyout. You print that receipt, and there you go. So, but if you're on one of the apps on a Hard Rock Bet, they do offer that. I was getting emails on Colorado from Hard Rock Bet last year, with 2 or 3 weeks to go. They were offering me little buyouts. So, you got a chance to grow your bankroll that way. That's the name of the game. Is make sure you don't lose your shirt. You can still make your mortgage payment and all that, and have a little fun. So that's my thing. I bet on those 3 teams, but I think someone else is ultimately going to win. But I think I can get some money in the bankroll with those 3 bets.
There's not a quiz on that, was there? Because
I would definitely fail that.
I'll be emailing you guys a Scantron to fill in. I'll be like
one of those things. B. Oh, I haven't filled in C in a while.
Well, it's kind of like that guy, that meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the conspiracy theory meme with the red lines all over the map. That's
Tim explaining the Big 12. Big 12 bets to the listener.
So, yeah, that'd be me. So, Darren, wrap this up. What you got?
I am in agreement with Tim in one thing. I do think Kansas State's got the pieces to win this conference. Unfortunately, the number's too short, so I did not play that. I talked about my love for Houston and Willie Fritz. I think that offense is going to take a big step up. I don't think they will be the 11th worst or best team in this conference. I think they're going to finish in the top 8. Texas Tech is my disappointment until I see disappointment. I thought they're not going to have a good year, but I think they're picked on some books to be the favorite. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't even make the Big 12 title game. But again, that's just me thinking that they're not going to get that defense together. Futures. Yeah, I hate this conference, so nothing.
Oh, to clarify, you hate this conference for betting purposes, right? This is a fun.
No, it's fun to watch. I will watch it all day long. If there was Big 12 from noon to 1 a.m., I wouldn't even change the channel. But the Oklahoma State thing has scarred me for life. One of my betting resolutions from earlier in the year was to not bet any futures bets regarding the Big 12. I wasn't thinking that at the time because I was breaking down these teams. It just so happened that the mix of numbers and rosters and schedules, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try and get a few months of my life back that Oklahoma State took from me in 2023. So I'm not.
I can promise you that if you drop dead before the 2 of us do in your casket, you're going to have an Oklahoma State jersey on.
I want you guys to give me an Oklahoma State hat, and I want you to lift my head up and give me the Mike Gundy mullet and a T-shirt that says "I'm a man." I made it past
I'm a dead man.
But to be fair, though, there are a few things that I do. I have some strong leans. I have like 4 or 5 leans. Should something happen where my mind changes, we will be keeping this spreadsheet updated. But yeah, my
All right. Well, we
hatred
hope
for
you
betting
enjoy-
Big 12.
Right. We hope you enjoyed listening to our Big 12 preview. Once again, you can find us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Please like and subscribe. Leave a review if you can. Leave a good one. We'd really appreciate that. Until next time, we will see you later. Have a good one.